Welcome back. Today we've been talking with Eva Kirsch and Andrea Callahan from the RAFFMA here at Cal State San Bernardino. Welcome back. So we've got some very exciting things going on with the museum, and to understand why these things are so exciting in the growth of the museum, I'd like to talk about the history, how we came to have such a remarkable resource, community resource, campus resource, and where we've been and where we are.
Oh, the museum has not such a long history, but there was a gallery before the museum for more than 40 years.
Yeah, about 41.
40 plus years of the combined history of the art gallery and the museum. The museum opened its doors in 1996.
Okay.
And then we had to go through seismic retrofit, so we closed the museum and reopened it again in 1999. So we have been continuously operating since then. And we have had about, I would say, more than 200 exhibits.
Wow.
Since the reopening after
That's been 11 years.
About 11 years. And a lot of different programs trying to target different kinds of audiences. So we actually, recently we have been trying to bring more interest from other departments, and we're trying to create synergies and partner with other departments, offering exhibits that actually are not only about visual arts, but more. We're incorporating music, and we're incorporating theater and other disciplines, trying to, again, raise the awareness about the museum and bring more audiences.
So what does that look like when you incorporate theater into an art museum, or incorporate music?
About exhibits that could actually lend themselves to this kind of partnership. So we had one last year. It was one of our efforts to promote the museum within the Southern California region, and it was the Timeless Enchantment series, in which we partnered with the theater and music department.
Right.
Did programs together, and also partnered with the Los Angeles Opera, becoming part of this big Ring Festival cycle. So it was actually one of those efforts that helped to make our name known.
Right, and I remember that we actually did a segment around the Ring segment.
Yes.
When we did that, I'm trying to recall what it looked like. Was there something inside the museum that people could come see?
Yes, we had exhibits. We had 2 exhibitions, and then in addition to the exhibits, we had lectures.
Okay.
We had a special workshop, hip-hop workshop. That's
right.
the theater part.
Yeah.
Yes, and we also had a concert.
Okay.
In the museum.
Which
is actually was not our first concert and was not our last concert. We've done a concert since then around the Warhol exhibit that we currently have on display. But that's kind of a new trend that we're starting with the concerts in the museum, and they're becoming very popular.
Very popular.
Now, are they our students who are doing the concerts?
No, these are actually our professors.
Okay.
But not only, we also bring in
so they're professional musicians.
Professional musicians.
And the actors?
And professional musicians so far, yes.
Okay.
So we had one concert of the 19th century, late 19th century music. One was dedicated to opera and song. That was rendering, and the recent one was Andy Warhol. It was all contemporary American music with one exception.
Okay.
That wasn't really about Andy Warhol, but really fit perfectly the story of Andy Warhol, and it was fabulous, actually.
Well, and Andy Warhol is such a well-recognized artist, even among the children today, contemporary, because so many of his images.
He's an icon.
Yeah. Right. So, in terms of where we've been, how did the museum get started, and then what are some of the impetuses for some of the changes?
The museum started when the former president of the university, Dr. Anthony Evans, actually wanted to donate a collection of his Asian ceramics to the gallery. And it was at the time when there were plans to expand, build a new art department, a visual arts center. So at the time, the idea about building an art museum actually came about, and one of the sponsors, one of the donors to the capital campaign was Mr. Fullerton, who donated substantial amount of money to make that plan possible. Because if it weren't for Bob Fullerton, we would have had just the art gallery, now the museum. So we have kind of two spaces. One is the initially planned art gallery, one is the museum that was built from privately raised funds.
Okay, and why was Bob Fullerton so interested in giving money for a museum in the Inland Empire?
You know, this is actually quite interesting because Bob Fullerton wasn't very much interested in art himself. He wasn't a visual person, but he was very interested in the role of the arts in the community, and he really he understood how much it helped the community, and he stood by his views, and his wife, Frances, was very interested in the arts, and she was very instrumental in actually the initial donation to build the museum.
Okay.
So it was more from her side.
From his wife Frances' side.
And Mr. Fullerton really understood the role of the arts in the community, and
Frances
wanted.
was very involved in the art community in San Bernardino as well.
She
I know she was a
personally
part
was
of the
involved.
symphony and things like that. She was really involved, and I think some of his understanding came from her involvement with the art, and kind of that inspiration or demonstration to him about how important arts were, and so that really helped him make that.
But the
gift.
visual arts as opposed to the musical arts or the theatrical arts. So.
I think Frances was involved in all arts.
All our arts.
Okay.
She was interested in everything, and she also was very supportive of Cal State.
Of Cal State.
Okay, and so what's the impetus for the name change now? Why are we deciding to change the name?
We're fulfilling the wish of Mr. Fullerton,
Okay.
who, when he was providing the donation in the 90s, he really expressed his wish that after his second wife passes away, the museum will change its name to include his first wife.
Because
Frances,
she was the impetus.
Because she was really behind the donation, and she
Okay.
was the one interested, and she was the one also helping with the funds.
Okay.
So that's why there was an exchange between Dr. Evans, President Evans, and Bob Fullerton, and the agreement was actually expressed on paper in a letter from Dr. Evans. So since I actually joined the museum in 1998, I knew that there would
ultimately be a name change.
the name change.
It's time to take a break. We'll be right back.